Confirmation Bias 2001. The Cognitive Trap. Why She Can't See Your Stability. The Neurobiology of the Emotional Compartment. Welcome back. If you're a regular here, you already know about the emotional compartment. You know that part of your partner's brain, whether she or he built a fortress to survive the crisis. And you know your job is to deliver stability and positive seeds. But I constantly get the same question. I've been stable for months. Why does my partner still act like I'm the problem? Why is this process so chaotic? Today, we're going beyond the basic concept. We're doing a level 2 deep dive into the neurobiology of the compartment. We're going inside the fortress to see exactly how it's wired. We'll expose the scientific tools the brain uses to block your love, how the amygdala creates extreme hypersensitivity, how confirmation bias forces your partner to misread your every gesture, and how GABA chemically shuts down their feelings of love and compassion. Most importantly, we're giving you a refined scientific timeline. The 7 distinct phases of neural rewiring, a refined journey that tracks the relationship's neurobiological arc from the initial buildup of stress to full recovery. Understanding this science proves that the chaos you're seeing is not rejection, it's progress in disguise. Let's get into the neurotrap. The emotional compartment, a neurobiological defense. The journey toward understanding entrenched emotional patterns, especially during periods of stress or separation, requires a deep look into the brain's survival mechanisms. The emotional compartment is an incredibly resilient psychological fortress, built unconsciously to maintain emotional stability, often at the expense of critical thinking and positive connection. It is a fierce, high-stakes defense mechanism designed, quite simply, to prevent psychological collapse, as the brain desperately fights to avoid going insane because of sustained emotional chaos. This episode details how such a compartment is created, the precise mechanisms of its firing, the strategic approach to dismantle it, and the anticipated timeline for change. Part 1. The creation. A desperate act of survival. The emotional compartment is not an act of malice. It is a profound and deeply sad act of survival. It's the partner's brain, whether she or he ensuring its own coherence and conserving energy during an intense, prolonged period of stress or emotional depletion. This mechanism is fundamentally an energy conservation issue. The quiet construction, the energy crisis. The partner's brain, prioritizing its own function, must simplify its overloaded emotional landscape. The overwhelm, complex emotional engagement, processing nuance, and navigating conflict takes enormous cognitive energy. Faced with chronic stress, the brain views the relationship's complex emotional demands as the single greatest threat to its energy reserves, leading to emotional overwhelm. The brain literally starts rationing its resources, like an energy crisis, flagging the relationship. From the brain's perspective, the emotional dynamic of the relationship itself gets flagged as the perceived enemy of stability. The top priority switches. The brain stops trying to solve the relational problem and starts focusing purely on ensuring its own continued functioning. This is the central tenet of the defense, coherence over connection. The breakdown of safety. This structure is rooted in a failure of emotional safety. If the partner feels they cannot express vulnerability or distress without facing reactive negative blowback, like fear, avoidance, or anger, the foundational trust is destroyed. Since external safety has failed, the internal protection mechanism must become absolute. The tragic solution and the core narrative. The brain's survival drive requires it to simplify reality instantly. By establishing a devastating, crystal-clear narrative, the core lie, the partner, or the relationship dynamic itself, is the necessary problem. Therefore, withdrawing, leaving, or walling off emotionally is the only viable path to my psychological survival. They have essentially traded messy complexity for stark simplicity. This simplification is why trying to have a rational debate hits an impenetrable wall. The system is designed for swift, simple self-protection based on the lie, not rational debate. The self-fulfilling prophecy. The most insidious part of this mechanism is how it manufactures the proof it needs to justify itself. The partner's brain executes the withdrawal to conserve energy. This withdrawal starves the relationship of the warmth and connection it needs to stabilize or repair. The resulting lack of stability and communication creates pain and chaos. The person inside the compartment looks back, observes the chaos that resulted directly from their own withdrawal, and their brain confirms, "See? Look how unstable the relationship is. My decision to wall off was absolutely right." This foundational cognitive lie is fiercely protected because if it crumbles, the partner is suddenly faced with the terrifying original chaos and the fear of psychological collapse. Part 2. The firing and perception of the compartment. When the emotional compartment is fully formed, it acts as a powerful, instantaneous program that bypasses rational thought and shuts down internal debate. The neurobiology of firing. The firing is a swift, automatic cascade of electrochemical activity across a deeply ingrained neural network, reinforced by the principle that neurons that fire together wire together. The programmed response, glutamate and amygdala. The compartment's circuit is tightly wired to the amygdala, the brain's fear center. The circuit fires, releasing excitatory neurotransmitters, primarily glutamate, which commands an automatic, cold withdrawal. This connection is the source of the compartment's extreme hypersensitivity to any perceived threat. The inhibitory barrier, GABA, the compartment hijacks GABA, gamma, aminobutyric acid. This inhibitory release is surgically aimed to inhibit pathways of love and trust, creating emotional numbness, and dampens the executive control network, effectively turning off critical thinking. They aren't choosing to be cold. Their survival mechanism is enforcing that coldness neurochemically. The mechanism of perceived neediness. The compartment's amygdala-driven hypersensitivity causes the partner to misinterpret normal gestures as a threat through confirmation bias. The confirmation bias. The brain is seeking evidence to confirm its core belief. I must leave because he/she is unstable needy. The bias forces the brain to interpret even a simple greeting as an emotional bid, a small request for the partner to reciprocate warmth and re-establish a demanding emotional dynamic. The defense. The partner's brain registers this small bid as an overwhelming, needy attempt to get them back. Ironically, your perceived coldness is actually the necessary signal of safety and self-control. The leaving partner needs to feel safe. Part 3. Breaking down the compartment. The chaos of dissonance. The compartment is broken down by consistently reinforcing a new, alternative reality and depriving its neural network of the chaotic input energy it needs to fire efficiently. The strategy. Overwhelming stability. Positive seeds. The stable partner provides consistent, factual evidence. Positive seeds that their life is stable, non-needy, and high value. This directly contradicts the compartment's required input. Non-reaction. Unwavering calmness and focus on personal values deny the compartment the chaos and predictable reaction it needs to justify its firing. The danger of misreading early authentic moments. The false summit. It is critical to recognize that moments where the partner's authentic self appears, warmth, empathy, showing up for family, are not evidence that the narrative has broken. Early authentic leaks during Phase 1, the false summit. The partner will show up for the family or share warmth. These moments are genuine emotional leaks, caused by the simple fact that the partner still loves you, but the compartment is fighting for its life. The compartment's rejustification, because the core narrative is still set in stone, the partner's brain explains away these moments of genuine connection. They are rationalized as, I am doing this for the kids, or I am being nice because I am a good person, or this doesn't change anything. The trap. Misinterpreting these leaks as a sign of safety leads to the stable partner dropping their guard or making an emotional bid, which instantly triggers the compartment and forces the partner to retreat. This is the pullback. The compartment is only truly cracked when the narrative itself becomes unstable, not when the emotions briefly surface. The dissonance and the retreat. Your stability creates intense internal turmoil known as cognitive dissonance. This is the alarm bell of the brain being forced to process a contradiction. Inefficient functioning and the GABA leak. When the compartment's circuit is deprived of fuel, it struggles to fire efficiently. This causes the protective GABA barrier to temporarily leak, allowing the partner's authentic self-empathy, guilt, or regret to shine through. The pullback. The resulting psychological chaos forces the partner to retreat, silence, distance to restore the effortless simplicity of the old narrative. This retreat is a sign of progress, not failure. The final defensive push, intense but few. If handled correctly, the final defensive push. The repetition of absolute statements like "it's divorce," driven by dissonance, is often few in number but extremely intense. By meeting this intensity with calm, non-reactive stability, the stable partner ensures the cognitive dissonance remains, forcing the brain to accept the only efficient long-term solution, dissolving the compartment and accepting their stability. Part 4. The timeline. The 7 phases of neural rewiring. The process of dismantling the old compartment and strengthening the new reality relies on neuroplasticity. Here are the 7 phases. Phase 1. Negative seeding. Duration 2+ years variable. Psychological activity. The partner provides negative seeds which the leaving partner's brain uses to build the case for leaving. Compartment formation begins. Strategic focus. Correction and intervention. To stop all negative seeds, meaning stop being the source of chaos. Phase 0. Hopeless resistance. Duration, months, variable. Psychological activity. The initial absolute statements are made. The compartment is fully sealed and the partner is cold and indifferent. Strategic focus. Focus on self-improvement. Establish absolute stability and plant the first positive seeds. Phase 1. The false summit. Duration, months, variable. Psychological activity. The compartment becomes less efficient due to positive seeds. Authentic self shines through at times. Initial push-pull behavior appears. Strategic focus, unwavering stability. Do not mistake the leak for a breakthrough. The core narrative is still intact. Phase 2. Disruption, the conflict. Duration, weeks to 1-2 months. Psychological activity. Trigger. Significant cognitive dissonance begins. Apathy is replaced by anger and resentment. Final defensive pushes begin. Strategic focus. Absolute stability. Do not be rattled by anger. Maximize dissonance by remaining calm. Phase 3. Maintenance. The pullback. Duration 2-6 months. Psychological activity 50-50 balance. Internal conflict is intense. Testing the stable partner with mixed signals, affection followed by distance. This period is required for neurochemical systems to begin stabilizing. Strategic focus, unwavering calmness. Interpret all tests as opportunities to show safety and non-neediness. Phase 4. Habitual, the rewire. Duration, 6+ months. Psychological activity, the old neural pathway is shattered. New pathways of safety and trust are built and reinforced. The positive confirmation bias begins to take over. This period is required for substantial structural healing and complex emotional processing. Strategic focus, patience. Continue reinforcing the new stable reality. Phase 5. Surrendered, reconciliation. Duration, long-term state. Psychological activity. The partner achieves emotional certainty. The new reality of stability becomes the brain's default operating system. Strategic focus, commitment. Full surrender is achieved, and the process moves to a healthy, balanced relationship. Article summary. The emotional compartment is a survival mechanism the brain creates during emotional overwhelm to achieve coherence over connection, preventing psychological collapse. The process begins in phase 1, negative seeding, which forces the brain to establish a core lie that withdrawal is the only path to survival. This lie is enforced by the amygdala, hypersensitivity, confirmation bias, misinterpreting greetings as neediness, and the chemical GABA, emotional numbness. The result is a self-fulfilling prophecy, where the partner's own withdrawal justifies the separation. The stable partner's strategy is to relentlessly plant positive seeds during phase 0, hopeless resistance. This creates a decline in the compartment's efficiency, leading to phase 1, the false summit, where the authentic self leaks through via push-pull behavior. This is not a breakthrough, but a sign that cognitive dissonance is about to peak in phase 2, disruption, forcing the brain to process a painful contradiction that leads to the intense, final defensive push. The subsequent stages, phases 3, 4, and 5, involve a long period, 6+ months, of neural rewiring where the new reality of safety becomes the brain's default operating system, leading to genuine, sustained healing and reconnection.